Hi everyone and welcome back to a little bit of Warframe. So, what happened? Well, as I said, I needed a little bit of a break from Path of Exile, and while talking in Discord with a couple of buddies of mine who both played Warframe with me, um, we were just basically talking about different games and stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna download Warframe again. I will give it another shot. I want to see what changed. I want to see the state of the game. And while I did do that, one of my buddies actually downloaded the game as well, which we will come back to that in a little bit. But so yeah, what did I do? Well, I logged in and I was just doing some simple missions, like some capture stuff like that, just random, really random missions. I did pay my visit to Hydron, level something up to level 30, the good old days, right? So yeah, that's really the things that drew me into Warframe were basically the movement, the gunplay, as well as melee, how it works, like the modding and stuff, right? But also really the missions and how they play out, how they are structured, how everything is going forward in Warframe, how you progress your frames, your account, stuff like that, what you have to do, what you can do, and especially things you can do that are absolutely useless but fun, right? So that's basically that what drew me into Warframe back in the days, right? Honestly, the stuff that you do just for fun, to mess around, to have a laugh, to have some banter along the way, those are the missions that stick with you, right? Those are the missions that leave that impression in your mind that you just had a good time and that you want to revisit that, right? Revisit. I can't talk, I'm sorry. So yeah, I thought, you know what, I will just run a couple of missions, see how it goes, see how it feels. Not long after that, my buddy was like, hey, I actually downloaded the game as well in the meantime, let's play together. And the next thing we knew, it was the next morning, 5 a.m., right? That's how we work. That's how both of us work. We find something to farm and we just go and farm and forget time and just have a good time, right? So that's it was just cool, right? It was cool, it was relaxing, it was fun. We basically just sat down and farmed some prime parts because at that moment Barracuteer was actually present, right? So we were like, okay, let's just farm some prime parts, A, that we need, and B, that we can change in for ducats, right? So I spent around 800 ducats, so it's always a good time when Barrow's around, right? But yeah, after that session, I was like, okay, there's just something to this game that always makes me come back, right? And I always want to go back. And I think that's just, it's something special about Warframe that really clicks with me for a certain amount of time, right? I don't know, PoE over the last year, it was the same thing, right? It just clicked, and whenever something clicks like that, it's just a whole ton of fun, right? So yeah, after that I went through the Heart of the Deimos quest. That was the one I haven't done because it wasn't out when I was last playing, right? So I did the quest, took a look at the new open world, and I'm not much of a open world in Warframe player, right? I do my fair share of terrorist captures, especially with new people, just to get them going, show them what they can do, what they need to do, what they need to know, and also just to have like that experience again, right? Like you have 3 random new guys in your squad, they have absolutely no clue what they have to do, and you go through the mission with them, through the terrorist fight, and you break it down with them, and they learn, and you know, couple of months later, you log in, you see the guy that you helped back then is now Mastery rank 28. And all he's doing right now is sitting in the plains of Eidolon in Cetus at nighttime, asking for new players that have no clue how the Terrorist fight goes, invites 3 of them, and does basically the same thing that I did, right? So, honestly, the community in this game still is one of the best communities that I've ever witnessed myself. Yes, there were the odd ones, there are the trolls, there is drama in Warframe like everywhere else. I get that, but overall, the 3 communities that stick out to me the most is the community of Warframe, the community of Dark Souls. No surprise there, right? If you guys know me. As well as the PoE community. Really, 3 communities that are very awesome. Well, 2 of the games are pretty similar in the sense that you kind of need somebody to tell you certain stuff, or else you will just have to invest like a whole lot of time. In Dark Souls, I think that's a bit less, right? But nonetheless, you can learn a ton in Dark Souls from experienced players, right? I still learn new stuff about Dark Souls even today, right? But yeah, I went a little bit on a tangent there. I'm sorry. I just I really wanted to talk a little bit what Warframe means to me, right? It is a game that I always come back to with a smile on my face, especially after the first couple of missions. I have this huge grin in my face where I'm like, God, this feels so good to play. So good. And I really just wanted to share that, those things with you, right? So after the simple missions and stuff, I went to the content that I honestly think is like the most worth to play still. Especially for someone like me who enjoys a certain thing in Warframe, right? So, it's time to talk about ESO, I guess, right? Elite Sanctuary Onslaught is by far my favorite game mode to play, and it's a huge play mode to level stuff if you have a squad that will carry you and is okay with you leeching. So if you play it together with your friends, that's absolutely no problem. In public squads, obviously you will have to ask. But yeah, I mean, my last experience in ESO was like 3 or 4 Sarin primes, just nuking the whole map, right? So it's like, okay, I will play ESO solo. That's I play a lot of solo in Warframe. I know it might not be the best way to play. It might not be the most efficient way. I even farm some prime parts solo just because there are certain missions where I feel like, okay, I could go out after every 5 minutes of a survival, rejoin a new squad and have the possibility to choose between 4 rewards. Or I could just go in and stay for half an hour or an hour and get the prime part that I want with 8 Radiant Relics. It's probably going to happen, and if not, I had fun for a half an hour or an hour, right? So that's how I treat ESO as well, right? Usually you are between 20 and 25 minutes if you play solo. That's around the time that I finish at least, so I was like, okay, yeah, I'll just go in there, chill out, and the good thing is you get focus, right? I'm still convinced it's the best focus farm in the game, as far as I know. So I was gone for a while, so that could have changed, right? But yeah, I mean, you gain focus, you gain XP, you can farm Syndicate standing, so you do an 8-wave ESO and your daily standing is maxed out, right? So all good there. And yeah, so I was just playing with Siren Prime with my good old... how is it called again? The saw. The saw I built, the second saw actually I built, and I was like I was going through, just through 8 waves, as I said, got 4 Radiant Relics, got back out, realized, wait, hang on a minute, I'm like really close for certain Prime stuff that some of it I forgot, like Equinox Prime. She's now crafting, but I totally forgot that I only needed one part, right? Rhino Prime. You only need to farm the blueprint, and I didn't remember that, right? So it's like, okay, yeah, I'm glad I played ESO, because after ESO, I was actually checking my relics, and I was checking in my inventory what I had on Prime parts that are basically not finished sets, right? So yeah, ESO always gives you that instant reward for playing, as well as it gives you the consciousness to, oh yeah, wait, I should check my Prime stuff, if I can get a full set somewhere, if I only need 1 or 2 parts maybe, or if I'm far off and just can sell that stuff off for ducats, right? Another thing I totally forgot, I did check my mods, and long and behold, there were some pretty decent mods for pretty decent plat lying around. Logged back in on my Warframe.market account and made immediately 40 plat with 2 mods, just like that, right? I was like, oh, yeah. Especially in the beginning of my account, like I was relying a lot on trading. Basically, I think I played a year without investing any money into the game, right, on that account, because I was like, I want to see how far I can go with pure free-to-play, and I got very far, very, very far. And that just shows, yes, Warframe is free-to-play with the option to pay for mostly convenience, but you certainly do not have to, right? I did it back then because I wanted to support DE, because I thought, you know what, they are doing a great job with the game, and even though I'm not, like, on board with every single decision they made, which is logical, right? But it's also not required for me to still enjoy the game. Yes, there was a time where it really, really tempered my motivation to play because of the path they chose and the stuff they added or lack thereof, right? But all in all, it's their game, right? They have to decide, and it's a business as well. Sure, they have to balance out what they can do. So yeah, there will always be like this little bit of a gap between what you as a player would like and what the dev actually can deliver, right? They need to feed their kids, and we definitely don't want to take that from them, right? So yeah, that's just a little bit of food for thought, I guess. I'd say, yeah, I wanted to talk about ESO basically, but yeah, I mean ESO, you see the gameplay, you know how it goes, and if you don't, if you have never played ESO, maybe give it a shot. Maybe give it a shot. You can do this with different frames. You could go in with Equinox, with Mesa. You can really do a lot of things, but if you play that in a squad, make sure that you have at least one damage dealer with you, or else it could be a bit painful for you, right? So, why ESO? Why not the Steel Path, right? I personally don't think the Steel Path makes any sense still to this day. I don't know what they changed about it, or if they changed stuff about it, but when it came out, the rewards were just not there, right? I couldn't see any incentive to play the Steel Path. So I just didn't, and I stuck to ESO and to farming terrorists, right? Those were the things that I thought were fun and actually rewarding. So yeah, all I want to say is, even though I took quite a break, Warframe still, I looked back in and I had fun, right? It's that simple, honestly. You come, you look, you know, let's put it this way. There are games where if you haven't played for a couple of months, you're basically starting at zero again, right? You have no clue, you can't remember what its combo is, for example, or how that movement thingy worked back, then when you played it, right? I'm not too prone to that because I do have, I don't know, that's a strange thing. I can pick up a game, invest an hour, and I'm basically where I was, except with Counter-Strike, right? CS is a different beast in that regard, but that's okay. That's why I love it, that's why I play it, that's why I always get back into it, right? It's another form of challenge, but that's not what this should be about, right? Most games you come back and you're like, oh god, I do have to start a new save file because I do not remember what I was doing. In Warframe, I looked back in, started running around, and I was like, oh yeah, this is how the movement works. This is how the movement works. This is how my gun functions, my melee. Oh yeah, melee counter. Yeah, no, I didn't forget about that. It's just, you log in, you play a couple of missions, and after 1 or 2 minutes you're like, huh, doesn't feel like I was gone, until you play ESO and you get one-shotted by too many Corpus units on one place. That's another story. I'm not sure if we saw that in the gameplay, but that happened, and it always makes me giggle. Like, I was like, God, I used to hate Grenier, right? I used to hate them, but then Corpus came out with nullifier bubbles and just hit scan weapons who just delete you when you let enough of the enemies spawn around you. But yeah, I mean, all the factions have, they got their upgrades, they have their stuff that I personally hate with a burning passion. But hey, it's okay, right? But yeah, that's pretty much it actually. I do not know if there will be much or even more content about Warframe on my channel. I seriously do not know, and I don't know. I haven't decided how much I would like to play, so I'm just hopping in for now for a little bit. I will definitely go back to Path of Exile once the new league will hit, or like 2 weeks before that maybe, do a little bit of practice for league start. But until then, I pretty much will play some CS and some Warframe. But as I said in the last video, I'm still dealing with RSI, and it's getting a little bit better, but only slowly, and only because I take a lot of time to not play, right? I really need to focus on not playing much at the moment, and that's also why there are not so many videos, right? I hope you understand that. I hope you still enjoy the content that I do provide until we are back with full force and a healed hand. That's the plan. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and as always, take care. Bye.